they didn't seem to work.
So here we are with the latest version of the Elite Dangerous beta. This is 1.03. It's still very limited beta in terms of how big the final game will be, but there's still plenty to do, and we're just going to do some very basic trade runs. This is a very early save. I actually crashed my ship very stupidly by dropping a pen onto my afterburner key on my keyboard and crashing into the inside of a space station. And that lost all the cargo that was in my hold, which with it took most of my money. So I restarted, and I've done a couple of like minor trade runs between some of these. These are the sort of the planets that you start out on, or the systems that you start out on. I've done a couple of very basic trade runs there, so I've got a little bit of extra cash. I think I've got like 2,000 credits instead of the 1,000 that you start with, and I have scoped out the commodities market already. I am led to believe that this system up here, which is called Acellus Primus, they are a high-tech system, so they will probably want the computer components that I can get from the commodities market at a relatively good price, and I can fill my cargo hold with that without any problems, and we'll jump there. It'll also show you that this is the Galactic Map. This is where you sort of plot your navigation where you're going to go to. These dotted lines show where you can make it within 2 jumps, and the solid lines are, see a solid line here, I'm in Ibutis at the moment, which is down at the bottom here. The solid line is 1 jump. So in order to get to Acellus Primus, I'm going to have to jump to Iranin and then jump to Acellus Primus. This map is very useful. This is the navigation viewpoint, and you can sort of scroll around and zoom in and out and stuff, and up and down. That's all mouse controlled, but you can go to the view map, and if you click on the map, it kind of throws up all these things, and there are countless, well, not countless, obviously, you can count them. There are many of these routes that will flash up, and this one, I think, it's showing textiles at the moment. So if we turn that off and we go to technology, turn technology on, you can see that Acellus Primus is actually shipping technology out to systems. So these are trade routes for each of these kind of commodities, and what they show is the direction of trade flowing in an area. So we can see that there is no technology going from Ibutis to Acellus Primus, which is sort of contrary to what I am led to understand. If we go down here, we can turn off the individual types of technology and turn them on. Yes, there we go. So if we turn on computer components, you'll see that there is a trade route from Ibutis to Acellus Primus, and it's flowing in that direction. You see the lines moving in that direction, and that shows that Acellus Primus is buying computer components from Ibutis, which is sort of an indication that's going to be a good thing to trade in that direction. So we'll do that now. The way you do that is you have to come out of, this is the Galactic Map, which is in your ship systems. So we'll have to come out of our ship systems. That's just accessed by going to this menu here, and then you go up to the Galaxy Map, into there. But we want starport services, so we come back. I'm currently docked in Chango Dock in Ibutis. So we go to starport services, hit the space bar. This will load up everything that we can do at the starport. So we see I've already refueled. I have a decent balance for what we need to do today. This is a basic ship. This is a lone ship that you start with. The hull has taken a hit. There's no point in repairing that because this is a lone ship. This doesn't belong to me, so if it blows up, they just give you another free one. So there's really no point in repairing that unless you're going into dangerous space with a lot of cargo, which I'm not today, so I'm not going to bother spending money on repairing that. So let's go into the commodities market, and then if we scroll down, we can see here, this is the sell column. This is the price that you can sell goods to them at this price, and this is the buy column. This is the price that you can buy goods from them. So obviously there's quite a lot of information here. This is how many units they have, and the price, the galactic average price, As long as the galactic average price is higher than the price that you can buy the component or the commodities for, that's a relatively good indication that you'll be able to get rid of those trade items somewhere. Now, that's not always necessarily somewhere that's easy to get to. Quite often you'll have to do several jumps to get to a system which these things are in demand. So we're going to go ahead and buy some computer components. As you can see, I've only got 4 units of cargo space, which is very limiting in the first ship that you start with. But we'll go ahead and fill up on computer components. And that takes most of my cash anyway.
Maximum capacity.
So now my cargo hold's full. I've got full fuel. We are on the Galactic Map. If we go back to there, we are locked in to go to Asellus Primus is in our navigation tab. That's shown as our destination. So we will exit here, go down to launch, and we'll launch from the station. Now, when you launch, you get 5 minutes. Basically, that means get the hell out of the station. I'm playing this with not a HOTAS system, but it is a joystick. It's a flight stick, and it does have a little throttle on the front of it, but it's not like one of the big expensive ones. Although I would consider one of the expensive sticks, maybe the Cytec X52, if it comes to it. If we're gonna play Elite for a long time, which I probably am. So I'm set up here to, like, all my rotate and pitch and yaw and stuff is all on the stick, readily at hand. So we just get out of the station, we boot up our throttle, that'll get us some speed. You can see my speed isn't going too high at the minute. That's because if you look down the bottom left, my landing gear is still on. So if I turn that off, I've assigned that to a key or to a button on my stick, so I should be able to just flick a switch and it will go off. There we go. And then my thrust increases and my speed increases. Now you can see also down in the bottom right there it says mass locked. That's because I'm too close to a space station. So I can't jump at the moment, and I need to jump to get to, well, I'm going to Asellus Primus, but I have to actually go back into the Galactic Map and fix that because we need to go via Iranin. So we can do that by going to the Galactic Map, or we can do that just by scrolling down these close locations. And there is Iranin. We'll go there. Lock that as our destination and engage hyperdrive.
Drive charging.
And then we need to ensure that we are facing our destination. We'll drop the throttle a bit. Extra maneuverability, and then you need to throttle up to engage the hyperdrive. Get to your maximum speed. Now these systems, I have no control at this point. This is me in hyperdrive. I assume it's just loading in the next section of the world or the universe for me to explore. So there we go, and it kicks us out right facing the sun, almost always. So we'll just get out of there now. At the moment we're in super cruise mode. What we want to do is go into our Galactic Map again, and we were looking for Asellus Primus. Lock and engage hyperdrive again.
Charging.
And we are now charging. We need to align ourselves. If you get too close to the sun, it will emergency stop you, and then you'll have to jump away from the sun, like onto an escape vector. This should be fine.
3, 2, 1.
And again, I assume it's just loading in the next section. And again, we're right out where the sun is. Let's just pull away from that while we go into our ship's computer and we go through the various contacts at this location looking for Beagle 2 landing. That's the space station. You can see the little icon is like a square with a diamond in it. That's the space station icon. We'll go there and we'll lock that as our destination. Then our ship's navigation will point us in that direction. Let's not go near that signal source at the moment. Now, if you see my speed gauge there, which is just to the right of the radar in the centre, I'll sort of try and explain how this is super cruise mode. I'll try and explain how this works. You need to, as you're approaching a system, because space is so vast, they sort of have these methods in to speed up time and allow you to travel much faster than you should be able to. Super Cruise is one of those, and at the moment I have full control over my ship, but I am going extremely fast, so I can't dock at the station while I'm in Super Cruise mode, because as you can see I am approaching it at a rate of, it's 1,300 light seconds away, and I am approaching it at 15 C, which 16 C, which is that's 16 times the speed of light. So I'm approaching it extremely fast. If I tried to dock at that, I would just go through it. So what you want to do, the speed gauge there on the right hand side of your radar, there's 3 bars there. There's a very narrow strip on the right hand side, there's a thicker strip in the middle, and then there's a very narrow strip on the left hand side that lights up blue. The narrow strip on the right hand side shows your maximum speed at the moment, so that's obviously more than I'm doing at the minute. The one in the middle shows your current speed, and that has like a little pin on it that moves up and down as I move my throttle up and down. The one on the left is the blue bar, and that shows the speed that you should be aiming for ideal situations. Now in combat, what that means is when you're in that blue zone, that's the ideal speed to maneuverability ratio. So in combat you want to be in that blue zone so that you can turn quickly, because if you're going too fast you can't turn quickly at all, and if you're going too slow you also can't turn very quickly. So you want to be just in that sweet spot. In Super Cruise mode you want to be in that sweet spot because it's slowing you down to a position where it's safe to jump out of Super Cruise mode, and that allows you then to, you're on a sort of like a subsystem level and you're able to dock. So if you see on the left hand side, the alignment, bottom left of my HUD, it shows the alignment is okay and the distance is getting closer, which is good, and my speed is coming down, which is also good, because I need to get those 2 little markers to be in the blue areas of those sliders at the same time. And the way to do that is simply to control your throttle, keep yourself pointed at the destination, and control your throttle to stay within the blue area on the speed gauge on the right hand side. And as long as you do that, you will slow down and arrive at your destination at the right sort of speed and distance to disengage your Super Cruise mode and prepare to dock. I should point out some of my movement might be slightly jerky here. The stick I'm using is it's not a bad stick, but it's fairly new and the spring's fairly tight, so it's kind of stiff. So sort of smooth minor movements aren't too easy at the moment, but hopefully that will loosen up as I play. Or I'll just buy one of the really cool expensive HOTAS sticks and throttle systems. So now you see it says safe disengage ready, so I press J to jump out of hyper mode. It goes a bit shaky. I've lost control now. This is another loading screen. This is me jumping out of Super Cruise mode. The other bar there on the left hand side of my radar where it says 49%, that's the heat of your ship. If you overheat you'll explode. Also the hotter you are, the more easily noticeable you are on the radars of other ships. So if you're trying to avoid confrontation, you want to keep your temperature down. There is a silent running mode as well, so you can basically close your vents and not be giving off any heat, but then you overheat very quickly and you need to eject heat sinks and stuff. So now I've seen a few videos on the internet where people are trying to dock and they seem to have real problems with finding out where the hole is on the front of these Coriolis class space stations. I don't really get that because they rotate around a single axis and it's always around one of the square sides. So we can see that sort of the square side that's kind of facing up and to the right there is the axis that it's revolving around. The hole will be in the side where the axis is that it's revolving. Now it's only in one side, so it doesn't appear to be in that side. I can't see the blue that it would have, sort of the blue landing lights. So I assume that the docking hole is not in that side. No, it's not. So we basically just have to go around to the other side, and we can do that using you see I'm using lateral thrust at the moment, so I'm thrusting to the left as well as forwards. That means that basically I can fly my ship just sideways as required. Put a bit of throttle on so we can get around here a bit quicker. You can see there on the left, because this is the Beagle 2 landing station is my target locked on. It gives me some information about that. It tells me that it's 10 kilometers away. I think I need to be within 10 kilometers in order to request docking, otherwise my docking access is denied. So we'll just let it get a little bit closer if we round here. We should start to see this surface come into view, and hopefully the docking hole's in the middle of that, or I'm going to look pretty stupid for mocking everybody on the internet that can't find them. Yeah, there it is. Now you can see this side is kind of a little bit better lit than the other side. That's kind of an indication that this is the side that you dock on. And if you're a little bit closer, you can see there'll be like holographic billboards almost that stick out the front of it that sort of denote the approach to it. And you can see that it has that bright blue spot in the centre, which is the actual docking window. So let's just get it round here and wait until we're well aligned. Also, sometimes you can tell where you're supposed to dock because there'll be other traffic around that side of the station. So let's just square ourselves up here, which is easiest to do with if you have lateral and vertical thrust set. I have it set to one of the hats on the stick, so I can have full control of pitch and yaw, and also my roll. Okay, let's slow our way down. We need to request docking permission, which involves going into our ship computer. Going to contacts, going to Beagle 2 landing.
Warning, detecting hostile scan.
Request docking.
Request granted.
And it's granted. Now you might have heard that I was scanned there. That's quite often that hostile scan isn't really so hostile. It's just either the space station scanning me, or sometimes the Galactic Police Forces scanning you. Sometimes that will be pirates or people that want to fight with you scanning you. They're checking what cargo you have, and certain things, if you're carrying certain cargo, that will get you attacked quite a lot. I think alcohol tends to get me attacked. So let's slow down. We're going in here for landing pad 14, which is there on the right.
Pilots, please show consideration.
So let's make it. Again, I'm using lateral and vertical thrust to get close to the docking bay. Now, if you remember, we turned off our landing gear. We need to turn that back on again, or this will be a crash. So we'll turn that on. And as we get closer, we should get our radar will change to our docking computer so that we can see where we're landing. A good rule of thumb is to basically line yourself up with a control tower, and then if we get a bit lower, there you can see that radar changes, and that shows us our landing computer. We just have to get ourselves lined up until it flicks blue, get a little dot into the middle, and then descend. Try and go down smooth. There we go. And that's us landed. And then we can enter the hangar and we can go to our starport services. Okay, so the first thing I do when I land at Starport Services, I try to remember to refuel first, because if you forget to refuel, then you get out of the space station and try and jump somewhere and you don't have enough fuel. It's really annoying. So just so that I don't forget, I tend to refuel first thing. Now if we go to the commodities market, we can see that, let's scroll down to where the computer components are. Computer components, we can see they are buying them for $450 or for $550, and we bought them for $371, so we are going to make a decent profit on that. We sell all 4 units. We are making a profit of 716 credits, which is nice. So then what to do now, because we're in the commodity market already, if we look, we have a balance of 2,854, so we're looking for something which we can get 4 units of, so we're looking for something really sort of maybe 500-600 credits. Anything under that we can fill our cargo hold with, and there doesn't seem to be really anything that's a perfect price for us there, so we'll just have to pick something and either not fill or leave ourselves with a bit of money in the bank. But if you look around at what's available, in the commodity market, if they have it for sale, there'll be a number in the buy column. So that's really what I'm looking for as I scroll up and down here. A lot of expensive stuff here, but we have cheap stuff in the technology section. Aquaponic systems, animal monitors, HE suits. Or we could even maybe do a combination. We could maybe get some robotics and some of the aquaponic systems just to fill our cargo hold. But the thing to do is to check what they have here, sort of work out vaguely what you might want to pick up in cargo, and then if you quit out of this and go into your galactic computer again, or your system, your ship computer, go to the navigation section, up to the Galaxy Map, and then once the Galaxy Map loads, like that, you can see the systems that you can jump to, and then if you go back into your view and your map, you can turn those trade routes on and off again. So we'll see that in the technology tab, which is what this system had a lot of. What did they have? They had aquaponic systems. They are shipping out to a few systems, but they seem to be systems which are further away. What else was the robotics? Right, robotics are shipping out to a couple of nearby systems that we might be able to get a jump to. Maybe not. But that's how you go through, basically you judge what they had and what you might be able to sell, and then you pick your next location and you jump there and you sell it, and that's space trucking in Elite Dangerous. At this stage, early on in the game, because if we go out of here, I'll show you what my setup is at the minute. Back into Starport Services, because basically this is very early on in the game. I'm still in the very first ship. I still have the weapons that were lent to me, which is just 2 pulse lasers on the front. Those aren't very powerful. They're not great for defending myself, and they aren't great for attacking other ships. So it's best to stay out of bother, really, at the start in these early days. Now, as you earn money, you can sort of add extra stuff to your ship. So we could go into the utility mount, and if we go by, we can see these things that we can add. More lasers, turreted lasers, like gimbaled weaponry that auto-targets. Better stuff for keeping you cool, missiles, beam lasers, which I think they're like a fixed target. So yeah, we can outfit our ship with all sorts of stuff. And obviously then it gets more dear to you, and you're going to want to be able to protect it. There are combat scenarios that will teach you how to fly and how to engage in combat, and those are separate to this. This is like the online section of the game. Those are separate. They're like a single player bit off the main menu. You can also go to the shipyard, and when you've got more money, each shipyard has a different range of ships that you might want to buy, and I think the prices are different depending on where you are. So that's how you upgrade your ship. And then obviously new ships have bigger cargo holds and better defensive capabilities, maybe better shields and stuff as well. But they're also harder to maneuver, and like some of the bigger ships, like I think the Hauler is a fairly big ship. Because it's bigger, it's more difficult to dock without crashing into the edges of the docking slot, basically. So they require a little bit more skill, but you would expect that as the game levels up. But as of now, I've increased my balance by 700 credits. I'm going to go and see what else I can trade, and we'll leave this video there. Thanks very much for watching, and hopefully if you let us know, we'll make some more Elite videos. Just let us know what you want to see. Okay, thanks.